I was running through Townley Hall woods late at night, running out of breath, and my legs felt heavier than they normally did. I just had an argument with my parents over school when I tripped and fell because I couldn't see because of the darkness and my long red fringe. My ears were ringing and my sight was blurry. After I fell, everything went silent. I could hear owls, foxes, and crickets. I felt alone but at peace. All of a sudden, I hear someone's heavy breathing and running behind me. I started to panic and was frozen in terror because I didn't know what was behind me. When I turned around, I noticed a tall, dark figure. The clouds cleared, and from the moonlight, I could see the silhouette of a person. I could just about see their face and them staring into my eyes. Although I couldn't see it clearly, their hair looked split-dyed blonde and black, curly and cute. His eyes were hazel and green. I could tell he was taller than me and was about 5.5 feet. He looked down at me and asked, "What are you doing? You okay? Are you hurt?" As I tried to catch my breath, I locked eyes with him and I couldn't speak. "Walk with me. I want you to be safe. I'm Florence, by the way." Florence put his hand out and I hesitated a bit, but then I took his hand. His hand felt dry, rough and warm, because he had been running. I wish mine looked in a better state because they were covered in mud, dirt, and blood. For the first time in the last few hours, this was the safest I felt. As I tried to talk, I stood and said, "Thank you. I'm Bon, by the way." Florence nodded. "That's a nice name." Florence noticed that I was limping and asked me again, "Are you okay?" I tried to get to my feet, but I felt myself begin to fall back down. Florence tried to catch me, but failed. Florence grabbed my arm and put it around his shoulder to help me up. Florence brought me back to a tall tree stump, sat me down, and lifted me up onto his back. A few minutes later, we were all outside our house walking through a grassy, overgrown garden full of old cans, pizza boxes, and a broken lawnmower. I felt a little bit uneasy, but it was better than nothing because I didn't want to go home. It looked like a typical abandoned house with boarded windows, broken doors, broken windows, and a glass in the garden. "Is this where you live?" "Yes, I know it's not a lot, and it's really messy, but this is where I live." "Do you have family?" "They're dead." I stayed quiet and said, "I'm sorry," and gave Florence an awkward hug. Florence was caught off guard and didn't know how to react, and didn't hug back. I was limping, not as badly. We silently and quickly walked into the house. Florence turned on an oil lamp. It lit some candles so the room was slightly lit up. I yawned, beginning to doze off. "I feel really tired." After that, "Is it okay if I sleep for a while?" Florence replied, "I reckon it's best if you stay awake in case you hit your head in the wrong way. Do you want me to get you a glass of water?"
Florence walked out to his kitchen and brought back a glass of water. Florence gave me the water and sat down beside me on the floor. "Do you have reason that you are sitting beside me right now?" I hesitated for a few minutes, holding back my tears before I began my story. I laughed weakly. "I do, but it will bore you to the point that you want to go to sleep." Florence, seeing my hand shaking with the water, told me a little bit about himself. "Well, you are not the only one who has troubles right now." Florence told me that he was squatting in the abandoned house because he is hiding from social services and he has no actual parents. I said, "I'm sorry. If you are comfortable with it and you do not mind me asking, how did your parents die?" "They died a year ago in a car accident. I was going for a jog when I received the call that my parents had died. I turned away and I stumbled onto this house. I couldn't go back to our house because it was too hard." "Well then, how do you make money if you don't receive any of their stuff?" "I play guitar on the streets." "You shared a lot. Maybe it's time I told you a bit about my life. I got into a fight with my parents. They are abusive. I go to the woods to get away from them. I was doing some important exams and they were putting so much pressure I snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. We had a fight and they hurt me and I ran. Florence said, "How's your head? Are you okay to go to sleep?" After a long silence, I gave him a hug and we both broke down crying.
You look very tired. Maybe you should go to bed. You can take my bed for the night. Are you sure? It is your house. I'll sleep on the floor. As I am falling asleep, I see Florence right beside me. A while later, I woke up because my head was sore. Florence was sitting on the bed beside me, making sure I was okay. He seemed exhausted. I woke up to the sounds of birds chirping and light coming in, so I could see more of the room now. Dirty ripped wallpaper was scattered around the room. Cracked floorboards were covered in cans, boxes and rubbish. The radiators were pulled off the walls, wires hanging out from the corner of the ceiling. I put on my shoes and walked out to the kitchen to see Florence making waffles on the gas stove for breakfast. After breakfast, Florence told me that he sticks to a routine, and I went on a run with her. After the run, Florence said, "I think it's time for you to go home." I don't want to go home. Is it okay if I stay for a few more days? Are you sure? Would your parents not be worrying about you, seeing as you had a fight last night and went missing? No, you've been hiding out here for a year, so I can't hide. It'll be harder to get food and hide out with two people. Can I see you again if I go back? If you ever need me, you can come find me. If you can find me, he said under his breath. I walked away. As I said goodbye, I felt weird pain in my chest and I ran back and hugged Florence and started crying. We broke the hug and walked away. When I looked back, I saw the look of regret on Florence's face, but not a word was said and I continued to walk away wiping my tears.